Welcome inside the locker room where we take you into the chamber. And it's not just about the stats, the scores, but the analysis. And you're welcome inside of it right here on Smooth 98.1, where we love music and we love life. You can join us on YouTube at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. At Smooth 981 FM Lagos. And you can also join us on WhatsApp. Later, I'll tell you the WhatsApp line just in case you're listening to us for the first time. But you can be sure that every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8:15 a.m. on Smooth Breakfast, it's about every sport. We're talking tennis, football, and everything in between. So please welcome the one who brings passion, perspective, as well as the top shelf analysis, the one and the only queen of the locker room, Tega Supreme.
Every time you do this thing, I sound like I'm walking into a ring. All right. Good morning, everybody. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. What happened this weekend? Oh, what didn't happen is the question.
Yeah.
Exactly. What didn't happen is the question. So the Blues have bragging rights again. Well, like we expected they would, only that it was such a massacre. So we may touch on that if we have time. We may touch on that. We will talk about, Nigerian striker and his medical tests. Yes, we'll touch on that a little bit. And we have to address some of people's opinions and criticisms, all of that inside the locker room this morning. We'll also talk about Pep Guardiola. He actually told us last week that his team was not out of their funk. And then he showed us this week that his team was not out of their funk. We'll touch on that a little bit. And then we'll go all the way to the US, where the US Open is on, and already some big names have crashed out. All of that inside the locker room this morning. But before we do any talking, Oluwaseun, please tell us, how can we be a part of the locker room today?
Yes, you can be a part of the locker room by sending your messages on WhatsApp 0911 999 0981. Again, 0911 999 0981. You can also join us on YouTube at YouTube or on YouTube. We're streaming live, and you can be like Elki Adirogba, who cannot wait to have Ayo back. That is at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. At Smooth 981 FM Lagos. All right, let's get started with Abdullah Dama becoming the first Nigerian to win medal at World Junior Swimming Championship. That is impressive.
That's very impressive. So Nigeria has jumped into the water now. It's all over for everybody else, and that's what happens once a medal shows up in different sports. Then that door begins to get open. But Nigeria has been improving her swimming over the years, albeit quietly. The question I'm asking people from Rivers State and Bayelsa, why is it not you that is? Because I mean, that's your habitat. But hey, the first Nigeria there has opened the door. Let's see how it goes. I know Lagos State was pushing swimming, is pushing swimming, and they have all these competitions that they do over the years. And so we have young swimmers coming through the ranks. We'll soon start. I've seen them at the National Sports Festival too. So we'll soon start getting them at the world stage. But this was the first medal at the world stage. This is the door opener. Before you know it, you're flooding the area. So congratulations again. But I like the fact that we are diversifying the sports that we excel in. So it's not just track and field now or football or basketball. We are now expanding into things like cricket and swimming. So I can't wait to see Nigeria, take over that part. But it was great to see that win. And sometimes once you see success at national level, it kind of encourages all the work they have been doing at grassroots. So congratulations once again.
Great. I was almost about to throw in a joke about Lagos and the swimming, but no, I guess the flood has swapped that one away. Let's talk about AC Milan canceling Victor Boniface move after failed medical. They have called off the proposed transfer of Nigerian striker Victor Boniface from Bayer Leverkusen after he failed mandatory medical tests.
Okay, before people start saying, "Oh my God, he failed medical test," medical, it's not drugs. It's not drugs. Calm down, calm down. All right. So, in case you haven't known or you didn't know or you haven't followed up, Victor Boniface has had, um, I think he has had ACL injuries twice, and he's had several knee surgeries. So that has put him well on a watch list of clubs are saying we are not sure we want to put place our bets on him, because knee injuries just take off the pace, take off what you can do. In case if you want to use a case study, remember Luis Suarez before the knee injury and Luis Suarez after
Mm,
the knee injury. Two completely different players. And Victor Boniface's knee is not. Look, let me even tell you, the real estate around Victor Boniface's knee is not even pretty. Um, I've had the good fortune to be around the Super Eagles when they're training. And I remember one day walking past him, trying to do some stretches on the mat. I was just like, did that knee go to war? It looked like he did. There's just scars everywhere. And so when clubs want to pick up a player, they look at all these things. Your injury history. Are you easily prone to injury? What kind of injuries are you prone to? All those questions. Even Bukayo Saka is now one of those players that's becoming questionable because of his hamstring injuries. But Victor Boniface with his knee injuries was always going to be a dicey issue. And AC Milan, first of all, they don't have money. Secondly, they're cheapskates because, like I said, they don't have money. And so they're trying to make buys and they would service them over time. And Victor Boniface is not that buy. Now, that doesn't mean that he cannot perform. It just
mm.
means that it's going to make him a harder sell for anybody. That's number one. But after the news came out, a lot of people came out to start talking about how he's not being serious and he's on social media. Social media does not give you ACL injury. People should be coming down with your criticisms. It does. You don't get ACL injuries from posting on social media. Okay, I don't know what one had to do with the other, but there were criticisms coming up that he's going to be a TikTok this, he's going to be a social media that, because he's always on social media instead of facing his work. ACL injuries are so ridiculous. Diego Militao hasn't been on social media as much as Victor Boniface, but he had ACL injuries.
Mm.
So let's separate issues. You can question the amount of time a footballer spends on social media without trying to attach it to his injury. It's just ridiculous to do that. But yes, that's latest news about him. I hope he still gets playing opportunity at Bayer Leverkusen because he can play, he can perform. It's just that with his history, it'll be hard for another club to say, I want to buy that.
Yeah, we wish him all the best. And at this point, I feel like some followers are going to develop ACL injuries from jumping into conclusions. Maybe
I'm telling you, that's a good one. All right.
because it's. Let's go over to tennis now, where Aina Sabalenka launched the defense of her US Open crown with a battling victory on Sunday, as Americans Herbs Taylor Fritz and Blake Shelton advanced safely.
Yes, Taylor Fritz with a little bit of struggle in the first set, but he was able to make it through in straight sets. Also, Blake Shelton had an impressive match and was able to make it through um, in straight sets too. But Daniel Medvedev, oh my goodness. He's had a bad year from January till now. But it even makes it worse that he lost again in round one of the US Open after a five-setter in which he won the fourth set by 6-love.
Mm.
How do you get the momentum to beat somebody by 6-love in the fourth set and then go on to lose the fifth set? But that was not the only drama he was serving up. So halfway through the third set, when Bonzi was serving for the match, um, a photographer decided that he was going to leave the court, and he now stepped onto the court. Now, stepping onto the court meant he caused a distraction. So, Bonzi had already missed his first serve, so he was about to hit his second serve when the photographer stepped on court. So, the umpire, of course, ideally now gave Bonzi back a first set because it will be taken as it was their mistake. So he gives Bonzi back a first serve, and Daniel Medvedev goes mad. And I understand exactly why Daniel Medvedev was angry, because this guy is about to hit a second serve, which I have a chance at returning. You are now giving him a first serve at my expense, but it's the rule. But it's also understandable why Daniel Medvedev was angry, because he's the one now at a disadvantage. And so that argument goes on for the next 5 minutes. People are mad at Medvedev. People are supporting Medvedev. I understand it's the rule. I also understand why he's angry. Two truths can coexist. Because now, as much as the US Open doesn't want to shortchange Bonzi, they're shortchanging him. So I understand why he was angry. But because he has a history of throwing tantrums, and he doesn't use very kind words. So Medvedev is he's a baby boomer when it comes to abusing people. So the words that come out of his mouth are heavy. And so it goes on for like 5 minutes. Of course, by the time they eventually start the match again, Bonzi loses the momentum, and Medvedev was able to come back into the match, winning that set, winning the fourth set before losing out in the fifth set. So drama all over. I'm sure somebody is going to be fined. The photographer's accreditation has already been revoked. So that's the end of US Open for him for causing this drama. But I'm sure there's still going to be more consequences coming up. But it was drama early hours of this morning because Daniel Medvedev just couldn't take it. All right. I understand his anger, but he has a history and he let it go on for too long. So I'm sure there'll be some repercussions there. But all in all, he's lost another first round at the US Open. Now, not only is that his first round loss at the US Open, this is his third time losing to this guy. So it's almost as if this guy has his number, which makes it more frustrating for him. So tough one for Medvedev. But on the women's side, things are going as usual. Arina Sabalenka won her own match. She had a tough first set, but her second set was easy peasy. So good passage through from her. Already in the women's side, though, Kudermetova was knocked out yesterday by a qualifier. So that was surprising. Her sister, who is the poorer player, is still at the tournament because her opponent retired. But she, who is the higher ranked player, was knocked out early. So interesting ones on the women's side. But I can't wait for today's matches. Today's match has Victoria Mboko and Barbara Krejcikova on it. So nice matchup.
We're going to go on a breather now. And when we come back, rejoice, oh Gunners, for something has happened and there is a boost. We'll be right back after this. You're listening to The Locker Room on Smooth 98.1. Music on Smooth 98.1.
Don't mind me.
Yeah, it's into the time for the Gunner story.
No, it's fine. We're even early now because it's showing 8:29 on my clock here.
Oh, the good thing is there is no ad at 8:45, so we can push it just a tiny bit.
Okay. So just come back with one message, just one message.
By the time Mario comes back, I'm sure LK and Padre P are going to have his head for breakfast.
I'm telling you, because he was bragging. Next season, I'm starting.
This is not the season at all.
Next season I started and it's still same old. So we'll come back with just one message. Then you announce that they should send their messages in again, and then we'll go back to the stories. That's what we're going to do.
All right. So we'll take all the messages at the end.
Yes, please.
Great.
Or should we do two? Since we finished that, let's do one from each.
So how about
so let's do locker room. So let's do YouTube. Sorry.
Okay.
Better be. All right, let's do YouTube.
Yeah, it's
Let's
pretty
do
much about it's about well, it's about Ayo.
it. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Once it's Ayo, they're talking Manchester United. So
Yeah.
just read them out as they are.
Our YouTube farm. We are back. You are inside the locker room right here on Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1, where we turn highlights into insight and give you the best of what's happening locally, internationally, be it regarding tennis, football, and every other sport in between. My name is Oluwaseun, and I do have the powerhouse of analysis. Of course, that is Tega Supreme. You can be a part of the show by sending your messages to WhatsApp 0911 999 0981. Again, 0911 999 0981. Join us on YouTube at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Drop your comment using the live chat option. I will get to it shortly. Starting with this one from LK Adoroba, who says, Ayo isn't back yet. He's still on the run from Man U banter. We shall store it in the cooler until he
and
is
keep
back.
for him.
Up United. Come on.
Oh my
Nice.
God. All right, let's take the next story let's take the story before we read all the other messages. All right.
Okay, so Arsenal have been given a boost after scans on Bukayo Saka and Martin Odegaard suggested that neither have suffered long-term injuries, despite both being substituted early in the Gunners' 5-0 win over Leeds United. Emphasis on 5-0. So, yeah.
Yes, emphasis on 5 years. So we go back. They said it's not long term, but how short term is it? All right. With Odegaard, it was when he fell. It was the way he landed on his shoulder. So I kind of figured that was a sprain much more than a long-term injury. But with Bukayo Saka, because of this reoccurring struggle with his hamstring, the minute he pulled up and then sat down, I said, that's happened again. But he's definitely going to have to be managed better. Because remember, he's a key player for Arsenal and for England. In fact, last season, if he did not have that serious hamstring injury, Mikel Arteta wouldn't have rested him. Because the boy was limping, Mikel Arteta was throwing him on the pitch. Just keep running. So they're going to have to manage the minutes. The good news for Arsenal, though, is that they've had a few buys that gives them the opportunity to rest some of these players. And so they have a little more depth this year than they did last year. So that could help them when it comes to managing injuries, because already match day 2 and you have 3 key players injured. It's not a good sight. The good news for them, though, was that they're getting the results on the pitch. Not only did they get the results on the pitch, but their striker, whom they wooed and flirted with, bought flowers and chocolates for, sang to on global stages, eventually scored on Saturday. And I was really impressed because, there's so much pressure that comes when you're a striker and they made so much noise about you and then you come and you don't score. Think about Højlund for Manchester United. But
Mm-hmm.
Gyökeres comes in on Saturday and you may say that the opposition was not the strongest of oppositions, but the goal he scored was a brilliant one, taking on two defenders and then putting the ball in the back of the net. Even I celebrated for him. I know he doesn't pay tithe to me, he's not my friend, but sometimes when you feel the pressure lift up a player's shoulders, sometimes you can catch the emotion. So it was good to see Gyökeres get on the scoreboard twice because he also scored the penalty. But all in all, I always say this: the teams that they expect you to beat them. Especially when it comes to leagues, you don't have to win much against the top. Let me call them six anymore because they're not really six. Against the top four. But if you win all the points you're supposed to win against the rest, you have a chance at getting the trophy. So congratulations to Arsenal getting strength in depth, getting the results on the pitch. Let's see how it pans out for them for the rest of the season.
Alrighty, Diego Simeone has said that you have every right, and you being the supporters, every right to feel frustrated with the team after his side were held to a 1-1 draw at home by promoted side Elche in a La Liga match on Saturday, despite taking the lead.
Yes, and again, they took the lead last weekend and they lost that match by 2 goals to 1 in the 9 minutes of the game to boot. And then they took the lead again in this match and then they dropped another 2 points. And this is two matches back to back that they're dropping points where they are supposed to be at least the superior team on paper. And they were vastly superior when it comes to ball possession, creating chances and playing the ball. So the question is, why are they not finishing off? Why are they not finishing stronger? And sometimes when you look at game management, it boils down to what the coach is doing. So of course the fans are angry. So of course the fans are angry. And Diego Simeone is he's putting his hands up, saying yes, you have every right to be angry because this stops at our desk. It's our game management that's the problem, and you can't only blame the players. You have to blame the coach. So it's a big deal. It's something that they need to sort out, especially when you look at the fact that the other contenders for La Liga, Barcelona and Real Madrid, they've won both their matches. Barcelona even came from 2 goals behind to win their match. So they're going to be looking at you against your opposition. Your opposition is coming from 2 goals down to win a match. You are going from winning to losing, and it becomes a problem. So 2 matches in, only 1 point on the board is a big thing for fans to swallow, and they want to make the noise early so that they are not saying that, oh, it's only the start of the season and then they find out middle of the season that they are on the second half of the table. It has to be something they have to push for better performance now. So I like the fact that he's taking responsibility for it, but that shouldn't be the end of it. The question is, how does he turn results around to make the
Yeah,
team a better one? Yeah, for the team to deliver on its potentials.
I guess this is one of those times you cannot blame the game, but you have to blame the players, blame the coach, blame the manager, blame everybody, but not the game. Moving on to Manchester City, their troubles from last seasons are being exposed once more in a humbly 2-0 home defeat to Tottenham on Saturday that raised questions over their quest to regain the Premier League title.
Exactly. The good news for them is that they are not under pressure because they've already had last season. So when you see
Hmm.
them last season, you won't be too disappointed that they are not as brilliant this season. However, it is the same thing, struggling with ideas and with creativity up until the minute Rodri came on the pitch. Rodri came on the pitch, I think in the 67th or 70th minute, and that was when they got their first shot on target. So this Rodri that is running around with one leg, so is the one that is going to be the savior of Manchester City. That's what they're telling us with all the new buys. I was talking about Renders last week and how brilliant he was, moving the ball around with his mobility. But already he's beginning to be getting sucked into this Manchester City style of play where they pass the ball around just a bit too much. It's one pass too many. And so they have forwards like Haaland and Omar Mamouche who play direct football, and then they have midfielders who are passing the ball a little bit too much. It brings a problem presents a problem for the team. Albeit it was they had one or two problems defensively, but again, it's that midfield that's a problem. It's such a huge deal. And so whilst you blame the goalkeeper for being a little shaky on one of the goals, but the midfield is not delivering, especially when it comes to attacking. So that's where the problem is. That's what they need to solve. Tottenham had a good day. They look like they're having a good season so far with Thomas Frank. They've won their first two matches. However, let's remember that under Ange Postecoglou, remember that time that they won their first 8 matches and people were saying, Tottenham is going for the title. And then they went back to factory setting. Tottenham Bottling Company.
Not coming home.
so so let's not be too excited. But Manchester City do have a real issue, and it looks like they've not yet found the solution, despite it being a new season and them having transferred a few new players.
What a shame. Let's talk about Newcastle's one-way striker, Alexander Isak. He will not be in the squad when they host Premier League champions Liverpool on Monday, which is today, according to boss Eddie Howe, who called the 10 standoff a lose-lose situation.
Yeah, it is a lose-lose situation because Newcastle right now are not benefiting from his services, and he is not benefiting either from pulling off these stunts and sitting on the bench because his form will be affected, his sharpness will be affected, and he's not playing, which means that they can't really trade him for the price that they really want to trade him for. It's a lose-lose situation for everybody. Newcastle not getting their player, a player like of the standard of Isak, not being able to put him on the field to get the goals that he can deliver, and him still struggling with this. It's a horrible situation, which is why I believe that Newcastle, should have taken the 120 million that Liverpool offered and run with it. 120 million is a good money for Isak in this market. What were they thinking? Why were they being fussy? And even if they eventually hold on to the player and keep him, which means he has to play. If not, he'll be paying fines every weekend. Then he'll be playing, and the fans remember that he wants to be away, so they're not going to be supporting him, which means that that's going to be affecting his performance, which means that at the end of the day, Newcastle is still not going to be benefiting the optimal performance from him. So every way you look at it, it's a lose-lose situation. It's just a ridiculous. When clubs want to sell players, they sell them quickly. Then when players want to go, they find a way to hang on to them. It's such a sad situation. But looking at the match today, Liverpool will be looking to defend their title. They were able to come out of their first match unscathed, but this presents a tougher opposition. The good news for Liverpool is that Newcastle have all these off the pitch issues that they're trying to solve. So it could present a distraction for their on pitch performance. For Newcastle, they don't have too much to prove. They're not under any pressure. It's Liverpool that are defending champions, so they can come out and play without the levers on. And it just presents for a great match for everybody, for neutrals watching. But I think if you look at on form and on paper, Liverpool just shades the advantage a little bit. But this is Monday Night Football, and anything can happen.
Okay. On a final note, do we take the Manchester story or take the messages?
No, please, let's take the Manchester story. It is imperative for Ayo's sake.
Well, Ruben Amorim says, don't blame the game, blame the players because they abandoned their attacking principles after taking the lead against Fulham, claiming their defensive mentality cost them victory in the Premier League.
I'm sorry, I don't know why Amorim can only blame the players. The buck doesn't stop at their desk because you are the one that brought the selection. You are the one that left Kobe Mainoo on the bench. Somebody that runs from box to box. You are the one that left him on the bench. You're the one that set up in such a way that you were sitting back after pressing Fulham for the first 5 to 10 minutes. Then Manchester City started sitting back. You are the one that looked at that formation and said, this is okay. So you can't say the players' defensive mindset. Since they had the defensive mindset before you put them on the pitch. Am I the one that selected them? Can you imagine? It's like blaming the Ogbono for drawing. Are you not the one that put inside pot? If you wanted to eat another soup that doesn't draw, you didn't see another vegetable
or
to eat.
fry it.
Or fry it. Let me just see road. But hey, at the end of the day, everybody's blaming everybody. The thing I was saying at the start of the season is the thing I'm saying now. We should start a poll, and we should be putting money in every week. for when Ruben Amorim is going to be fired. Look, it will pay you faster than any salary. Just put money there in every week. Ruben Amorim will fire this week. If he doesn't get fired this week, well, you save some more. That's what we should do, because I don't think he's going to last till December, except Manchester United are not a serious club.
Well, it doesn't look like they are, but move on. And we'll take some messages now with Padre Pio saying, where is Ayo when we need to drag him? LK's team doing the Lord's work. Barca's comeback, so frustrating. Hala Madrid. And Richard Deniro says, Arsenal doesn't have any excuse this season. They've bought every Tom, Dick, and Harry. I think the Eze was bought to show superiority against their North London rivals, Spurs. Not because they need him.
I was going to say they're a bit thick in the midfield, but when you consider the fact that players like Odegaard struggled with injuries last season, Bukayo Saka struggled with injuries last season, Partey struggled with injuries last season, and now he's even out of the club entirely. There'll be room for Eze to play. Now that you think about it.
Ayafedada says, I said it last week on the locker room that Bruno Fernandes has perfected the art of looking busy on the pitch without any productive output. Yesterday's game was just another reminder. Man's a fraud.
Fraud, no.
Now Wokoye says, United, relegation form already, while serious teams are doing well. Players, please step up and be counted. No more excuses. Arsenal with champions form, looking formidable. City, so poor. We'll quickly run to WhatsApp to take this one from Gamble Boy, who said, Manchester United just continued from where they stopped last season. Is there something coaching that we don't know about? How can you have signed a striker only to keep him on bench and play a false nine? We go watch Man United 4.
And then you now go and say that it is the player's defensive mindset. It's not his selection. All right. On that note, I want to thank you for sending your messages via WhatsApp. Thank you for streaming on YouTube.
Please,
there's still one more message.
Yes, there are more messages before I will have nightmares.
Read this message.
Run through them. Emeka says, regarding Boniface, I won't blame Milan though. It's like you want to buy a new car and you look at the accident history of the car and you find out that the car knocked engine twice. Will you still buy the car? I hope you find a new car. And Tayo says, Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham, and Co. saw their opponent and said, no problem. But Manchester United still wanted to prove a point, so they took only one. Their top scorer isn't even on their team. It's an own goal. Radcliffe must be miffed after dropping that kind of money. Tijani, welcome back. Welcome to EPL, aka Football Game of Thrones. You're celebrating too early after game week 1 win. Okay, I can't take more messages. Sorry.
Oh, we can't take more messages. All right. So thank you for sending all your messages. We hope to see you back here on Wednesday when we'll have more from the US Open and more from the world of football. Till we come your way again then, have a fantastic week.
Thank you for being a part of the locker room. You know the smooth breakfast continues. Lagos Talks will be up at 9 o'clock. And this time we will be talking about buying fuel. You put in 10,000 and somehow you get the worth of 6,000 or 7,000 owing to adjusted pump. What is going on? How do we deal with that? Join us at 9 a.m. on Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1. My name is Oluwaseun. Thank you for streaming. Do have a lovely morning.